Hi, on Moreton Bay Area's number one radio and number one morning show. The morning show here with Lee Chippendale, of course. It is talking real estate right now. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Oh, I'm well, Shane. How are you?
Awesome, and cloudy day outside, but not cloudy inside here. We have plenty to talk about. And right now, we have on the line...
We have Erin Hosier, who is a colleague of Andrew Turner, who is the State Manager for realestate.com, Marketing Manager, I correct myself, who's busy today. So Erin has kindly said she would fill in for us. How are you, Erin?
I'm well, thanks, Lee. Thank you.
That's great. Now, with realestate.com, we know that Australians have a passion for property. We have busy lifestyles. So how do you see people keeping up with all that's going on these days?
Well, you're definitely right there. One of Australia's favourite pastimes is property.
Yes.
We also know, though, that Australians adore their mobile devices.
Mm-hmm.
In 2012, the Australian Bureau of Statistics recorded about 16.2 million mobile phones across the country.
That's incredible.
So that was actually up 7% from 2011.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of data downloaded through mobile phones has increased by a third, and there's almost more mobile broadbands across Australia than there are actually people in the country.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so the good thing about it is we're actually trusting our devices to take care of our important business like banking and finding a home at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And by September 2013, the majority of visits to realestate.com.au will actually be from a mobile device of some sort.
Right.
So our job is to make sure Aussie buyers, sellers, renters and investors can access the properties they need in any location, any time of the day to make their dreams happen.
Sounds interesting. So is it just buyers and sellers monitoring the market on their mobile phones?
Not necessarily. Not everyone's in the market just yet. We find that a lot of people just love browsing, inspiring properties for ideas on them, maybe on the train ride home or even looking for renovation ideas.
Yes. Yes, that is interesting. People do tend to do that. You know yourself, you'll look at something in a property and you go, as an agent, you look at something and you think, oh, gee, that's good, I could do that at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is it fair to say then that as a nation, we're mobile house hunters?
Absolutely. We are celebrating here in realestate.com.au a mobile march. We've got new improvements to our award-winning iPhone app.
Right.
We're actually getting close to 2 million downloads of our realestate.com.au iPhone app at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So our aim is to keep making it easier for people to discover their dream place, whether renting, buying, investing or retiring. They've added a few new additions, such as searched results, a filter to manage those results. So they're actually suggesting search results to people at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to share properties via SMS and easily save agent details to your iPhone contacts. And they've made it easier to scroll through large photos and search results and created bigger, more beautiful images for properties as well.
It's amazing as an agent how much real estate has changed in the last few years. I mean, a while back, the internet was the U-boot and everyone was saying, oh, well, that'll never take off and it won't work with real estate. And now today, I mean, virtually everything is just literally in the palm of your hands. And as agents, if we don't adapt, we just get left behind.
Absolutely.
Mm. Do you have any hot tips for listeners when it comes to hunting for property on their mobile phone?
Yeah, there's certainly a few that I could pass across. So
please do.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can utilise map and GPS searching to seamlessly uncover properties around you for sale and rent.
Yes.
You can also use bookmarking to shortlist properties. You can contact the agent with one tap to call or email. So if a property is popular, it's important to reach out to the agent as soon as you think you might be interested.
Mm-hmm.
You can also spin your device around to scroll through larger images for a closer look if that's what you wish to do.
Yes.
And you can actually save open for inspection times and auction times straight to your iPhone calendar. And you can now sync that with anyone you're hunting with as well.
Erin, you can't see this, but Shane, who introduced you, is sitting here with his mobile phone and he's on there trying to do everything you're just saying.
I am. And everything you're saying is actually working. It's a great little application. Is it available for Android as well?
So we do have the iPhone app and we do have Android equivalents coming through.
Good.
The new changes have just been released for the iPhone app and we haven't got an ETA on the Android just as yet.
Okay.
Well, there you go, Erin. You've helped Shane immensely this morning. And look, I thank you for taking the time and it's been very interesting speaking with you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
What an awesome person Erin is. Full of information, great
Very
stuff.
much so.
Yeah, and it's the quality of people we have here on the program because you really do tap into a wide range of people who are in the know and on the pulse of what is happening now in real estate, which
Well, you
is
have
important to do. Now, coming up fairly shortly, we're going to have who?
We're going to have Arthur, who is the Queensland State Marketing Manager for ABC Photo Signs, to help us tell our listeners what they can do to help improve, to help get their house for sale with signage.
Excellent idea, and that's a very important concept. When we're talking about selling, it's making sure you tick all the boxes, making sure your property does in fact sell as quickly as possible for the price that you want.
Well, there's many boxes to tick.
Indeed so. It's coming up to now, it's 15 past 10. It's good to have your company this morning. This is 101.5 FM, the real estate, talking real estate here on the radio for Morning Magazine, and we're back with more in just a moment. And the number one morning magazine show with Lee Chippendale. We have a little bit of what we call talking real estate. And Lee.
We do, certainly. Now, we are going to speak to Arthur very soon, but I just thought we had a ring-in telephone question from a gentleman called Peter.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, Peter. Now, I'm not quite sure what the question totally was, but if I understand it, you're stating that all the units down there at Albion Mills are on the market. To me, that would indicate that, which is exactly what we're seeing here at the moment, that the market is starting to improve. People are starting to get out there and there's confidence out there. But maybe in the next fortnight or so I can do a bit more research on units overall in our area and give you a bit more feedback on that and a bit more information. So I hope that's been a bit of help for you.
And just a question from my point of view, how popular are units in general? I mean, what sort of makeup do they have in regards of all the other proproperties that are out there?
Traditionally in this area they've always struggled a bit.
Okay. Why so?
They just have.
Okay. I always ask a difficult question.
Well, I don't know the answer to that, Shane, but they always have struggled a little. They are coming to be recognised more because people's lives are changing.
They are.
You know, people are downsizing. They don't want to, well, not everybody, but there are a lot of people that don't want to mow the yards. They want to go out and have their, brunches and things like that. So they are getting to recognise units as being a better way that suits their lifestyle.
And convenient.
Yeah,
because you
and all those things.
No hassles. They don't have to do, as you say, the lawns and all the rest of it.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. There's still a bit of conflicting evidence with some of the stats that have even come through in the last quarter with units. But I mean, I'll go into that in another time. But,
that'll be good.
Yeah, but look, generally to me, Peter, it would suggest that they're out there, people are starting to look, and they're on the market and they're ready to go.
Well, right now here in the studios we have, from ABC Photo Signs, Arthur Syreet. How are you, sir? Good morning.
Good morning, Shane. Thank you for having me on the show.
No, it's my pleasure. In fact, it's all of our shows, and you're a part of it, so welcome.
Thank you, Lee, as well.
Thanks, Arthur. Okay, at ABC Photo Signs, what does your company see as the most important thing that a seller can do to showcase their property with your signboards at the front of their home?
Really having a quality and a sharp signboard with quality photography on it.
Yes, okay. So can you expand a little bit more on the photography side of things with this?
Yes, we have 3 levels of photography. We have standard photography,
Yes.
we have premium photography, and we do night shoots as well.
All right. Would you like to tell us a bit more about how they work?
Yeah, the premium photography, we do 3 separate images of the one picture. We superimpose it, and that gives a sharper. For instance, I've just sold my home back in November last year.
I hope you used one of your signboards.
We did. We had ABC out there and the photography, which was absolutely fabulous.
Yep.
With our premium photography, we had shutters at the back of the house, and outside the house was palm trees. And by taking the 3 images, we actually brought that inside the house.
Lovely.
Which actually brought up the room. And most people do 2 images, but we always do the 3rd images and make it a much more sharper image out there.
Okay. And so that was within your evening shots as well. Elevated shoots now, they're something that are becoming more popular these days.
Yes, that's another service that we supply, which is a free service within ABC. We go up 3 metres. There is definitely a difference between the floor level, I would call it, and the elevation shot level. People want this, and it's a much more popular choice of having photography.
Any other features your company is able to offer a prospective seller to assist in the selling of the home? I don't know, do you have floor plans? Do you have other things that you can offer that can go on that signboard that's at the front of that property to give someone else an idea rather than just the norm?
We do floor plans. We do single level floor plans and double level floor plans. We also go in the commercial area there as well. But really, to have we produce a sharp image that is crisp and sharp and bright, which attracts the right buyers. We think that you need plenty of photographs out there. If you've got between 15 and 20 images to look at,
Yes.
Then there's plenty more to put on the board. You know, you just need more images out there, really. You know?
All right. So traditionally, then, what do you think is the norm? Do you think it's the main photo that can be on there, and then 2 or 3 other little signs, or are you sort of suggesting that there could be more? Because obviously you don't do the front of the house because they can see.
No. Look, you know, probably I would say maybe having a nice big sharp image up there, or maybe 2 or 3 underneath.
Okay.
The board tells a story, it invites people to come into your home. You know, the idea of the board is to get the people to come into your home.
Okay, you keep saying that the sharpness, does that obviously come back to the way it is photographed, how many pixels or what have you? I'm a bit of a novice at all this sort of stuff.
Well, all our photographers are professional photographers. Having the right, you know, like most people now these days do their own photography in the house.
Yeah.
You know, and if when buyers are looking on the internet on realestate.com, you know, if the images are not right, they're just going to move on to the next property.
Yeah, it is.
So you really got to have the right type of photography. You know,
I guess the right angles and the right look and the right lights and all that comes into it, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, they say now if they're not right within 3 seconds, they move on to the next.
Scary, isn't it?
It is.
But I always feel there's a line between. It has to be professional, but I don't like. I see some, and to me, the house just looks doesn't quite look right. To me, there's a line between a professional, crisp. You know, picture compared to where it can just look, you know, look, that looks like it's been stretched, and this looks like that and that. So,
well, we have a crew where once the photography is taken, they're all downloaded at head office.
Yes,
we have a crew of professional people down there that will crop the photographs, make sure they're correct.
Yes,
make sure the lighting's correct and everything like that, and then they're put on our server.
Okay, all right. Now we've just been speaking with. Erin, thank you, Shane. Had a mental block then. With the technology and everything. I mean, everything these days, everyone's talking technology to the point where it almost does your head in. But you guys, the forefront of these days is technology. Have you guys upgraded any of your equipment or services that is able to make ABC photo signs
a little bit different?
A little bit different.
We have. We've got quite a few things there ticking now. One of them is that the guys take the images at the property. As soon as they get in their vehicle to go to the next job, they download all the images to corporate, and they're back on our server within about 4 hours.
So you're saying they have some handheld device, some...
They do. It's downloaded on their phone.
Yes.
Down to corporate, and within about 4 hours, the images are back to the client.
Okay, so whereas once before, and I know we've used your signs on many occasions, so usually it's a 24 turnaround time.
Yes, yep.
So are you now saying that turnaround time can be less?
Same day. Yes, it's a same day turnaround. It's
excellent.
Same day turnaround. Most clients get about 4 to 5 hours.
Yep.
Same day turnaround.
Okay, so as an agent, we go in, we say, look, we think these guys will do a really good job. There's an array of what signs you would like, whether it's this size, that size, whatever. Yep. Okay, we get our seller to agree with that. We say, righto, let's book these guys. They come out, do the shot. You could do that at 8 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning, and we could have that sign up there by 5 o'clock that afternoon.
The photography will be back.
Yes.
Sign will be up next day.
Okay, so that's cool. That's very good.
It's a very good turnaround, and with technology the way it is, I mean, everybody's just about got these handheld devices which can take photos and then upload it.
Yeah.
How recently has that happened for you guys?
That's happened in the last month. This new technology that we've got for downloading images.
Really?
Yeah, it's done on the run now, which is just incredible with the time that's saved with these images.
How does it make you feel when you can take advantage of time in such a way and just control it and say, bang, we know we can get that done in like 4 hours? It's incredible.
I believe we're the only company that are actually doing it now, that national company.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It is being at the front there. Also, we have a product called Real-Time Notification.
Okay, can you explain that to us?
Yeah, what's that?
They've got Samsung tablets, the drivers. All the runs are downloaded in the morning to the tablet. The tablet GPS will take them to the property. The guys will put the board up, take the image of the property, and as soon as they click that, it's an image sent to the agent in real time, and also to us as well.
So that means that we as agents can say, right, okay, we're going to approve that, we're going to talk to our seller.
Yeah.
Yes, that's okay.
You can receive that at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
At 1 minute past 10, your client could be in the UK, could be in
Anywhere.
Europe, anywhere in the world, in real time.
Forward it through.
And real-time notification.
Bit scary. Next question is: does head office actually know where you are as you're
Big
traveling?
Brother.
Can they actually track what you're doing?
Yes, they can.
Seriously?
All our vehicles have got tracking devices in them.
Wow.
And
That
Gee,
is
you wouldn't
scary.
want to jump out for a cup of coffee, were you,
No,
Sean?
you would, do you?
That's really, really benefit the client, because we know that, that if we've got to go back to a property, that's not right. Our drivers in the area can notify our drivers to go back within 10 or 15 minutes.
But the other good sign is you can actually tell whether or not a driver's in trouble. I mean, if there's obviously he's not moving, there's a problem.
We do know. But with the tablets, we use Telstra software on that.
Okay.
Right.
We partner up with that, and it's quite an incredible tool, really. And also, again, we are the only company that is actually doing this.
And you're nationwide. You go
Yes,
right
we
across.
are. We're national. Yeah, we supply boards to every state. Around.
So
And
people listening
even
here-
into Australia as well.
So people
New
listening
Zealand.
here will know that you can go anywhere in the country and
Yes.
they can use you guys.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and they do a great job, and their service is very good. I know a lot of agents in town use them.
Yeah.
We can put a ball up within 24 hours in anywhere in each state.
That's incredible. Just
That's
the,
technology.
Just the sheer speed of it all. I mean, I should know this because I'm into the technology and I know it can do.
There's just so much technology in everything these days, Shane.
Indeed.
That's the thing.
And
Yeah.
I love the applications and, of course,
Yes.
being able to utilise them straight away. It's just marvellous stuff. Well done.
Arthur, is there anything else you'd like to tell us that I've missed that you'd like to cover quickly, or?
No, obviously ABC been around for 20 years now.
Yeah.
It's a family-run business with Mick and Kathy there.
Yeah.
And Mick's always kept up in forefront of technology out there. Also being the first company to produce the photo signboard in Australia.
Excellent. So we're in good hands if we use your company.
You are.
Arthur, thank you very much. I know you've driven about 45 minutes to get here this morning with us, and I thank you, and I know your time is precious, so thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks,
for having us
Arthur.
on.
Yeah, we do
Take care.
appreciate it. All right, Lee, coming up fairly shortly, what else we got coming up for you?
We have Peter Smith from Caboolture Law, who's going to tell us some of the problems that our purchasers often have in the process of purchasing a home.
Rightio, it's coming up to around 27 to 11 o'clock. Don't forget Alan Jones coming up for you after the 11 o'clock news. Right now, though, you don't have to be a star. What a good song this is. It's the Morning Magazine Show here at 101.5 FM. And, of course, Moreton Bay Area's #1 radio, 101.5 FM. Moreton Bay Area's #1 radio and the Morning Magazine Show. It's also #1. Good to have your company. I'm Shane Matherin. Along with me is Lee Chippendale, talking real estate this morning. Time check right now is coming up on, 24th to 11?
Yes.
Time does fly, does it not?
It is flying. We've had a very interesting morning so far.
And a very busy one, which is, always happens, doesn't
Always
it?
it does.
And now we have another, I let you do the honours. Because
We are very
awesome
fortunate.
guest.
We have the principal and owner of Caboolture and Woodford Law with us this morning, and Peter Smith. He's been in this town for many, many years. And
How long have you been here for, Peter?
32 years.
A lot more than me. I've only been here for maybe shade under 2.
Yeah, so
It's a beautiful place.
It is. Good morning, Shane. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, Peter. Thank you for taking the time to actually come into the studio with us today. Now, obviously, there's always problems with conveyancing, and for the people out there that don't know what conveyancing is, it's the buying and the selling of the property. Peter, would you like to just expand on conveyancing in general a little bit for us, and then we maybe go into some of the problems that you see often?
Right. I like the way you said, Lee, that there are always problems with conveyancing. I'd like to correct you on
Oh,
that
I'm
one.
sorry. Yes,
Never-
I
never
agree
any
with
problems
you.
with,
You can tell it's a solicitor, can't you?
Everything's under control here.
Lee, conveyancing is the term applied to the process of transferring the ownership of real estate from one person or entity to another. Now, conveyancing is affected by a lot of different bodies of law, state and federal, a lot of council bylaws and that sort of thing. Many different branches of the law of contract, and it's affected by people as well. And it's affected by the type of property: houses, vacant land, residential units, commercial units, factories, shops, all sorts of different properties. And what the conveyancing process encompasses is all of those things, and it has to examine each different contract, if you like, each different person involved, and give effect to the wishes of those people. Now, problems come up when people are ill-prepared, people are being dishonest.
Yes.
But I think the problem I want to talk to you about today is not leaving enough time for all steps of the process to be complied with, to be examined, and to be fulfilled.
Definitely. I think you've explained that perfectly, Peter. Thank you for that. All right. What what would be some of the problems that you, in the time process, perhaps for inspections by buyers, that type of thing? Can you...
Yeah, very much so. I think people possibly rush the process. I think I've seen it in many different publications that it's been worked out by someone that a person spends an average of 20 minutes settling on the house that they're going to buy. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's a little bit hasty, given that you probably spend 3 times that amount of time every few years buying a new car.
Or a new dress.
No.
I don't spend that much time on a dress.
I'm proud to say I've never spent any time buying a dress.
Good.
So maybe not hastening into the process to start with. The real estate agent has done a lot of what you need to do for you. You have to sort out what you want to buy, how many bedrooms, where, those sorts of things. Take that information to the real estate agent and then look at what's available. But if you bought a house, say 10 years ago, you might be very, very surprised with the changes that have been wrought in the intervening period. 10 years ago, you might have signed up, gone to see your bank, and you knew your bank manager. 2 weeks later, you'd have a finance approval, and then you'd settle another 2 weeks later. Well, now you're going to go to the bank. You won't recognise anyone. They won't recognise you.
How true.
You'll be dismayed to learn that the loans officer makes a rare appearance some afternoon when Jupiter's aligned with Mars or somewhere. And it takes a long while, much longer than it used to, for you to get your finance approval through. Now, if you consider that coupled with the fact that there are different types of properties, it all adds up to a potential for someone to be disappointed in relation to time. In Queensland, time is the essence of the contract. And that means that if something has to be approved by a particular day or a settlement has to happen on a particular day, well, the potential is immediately there for someone to be disappointed or someone to be in breach. So find out before you go into any transaction, go and see your lawyer. Show them the potential, the proposed contract, and say, can we do this, and what do we need to do to make sure it happens on time? Do we need to allow more time? Because there's no point in going into a contract that, say, specifies a period of 3 weeks for something, only to come back and say to the vendor, look, we need another 2 weeks.
It puts doubt then, doesn't it?
Right, absolutely, straight away.
It does put doubt.
Now, one of the big problems that happened was around about the late 80s. The Caboolture Shire Council, as it then was, stopped doing, as a matter of course, compliance inspections. We told them at the time that that was an unwise thing, but that fell on deaf ears. And by a compliance inspection, I mean that when we lodge a council search with the now Moreton Bay Regional Council, we would hope that they go out, check what's on their plans, on their files, with what's on the ground.
Yes.
Now, the Caboolture Shire Council stopped doing that, and then around about 2000, 2001 started doing them again. And there were, for some years, a lot of people coming to us and saying, we've just been told that our house doesn't have approval, or it has approval that hasn't been complied with. We don't have finals. And look, Lee, you're familiar with that. We had time after time after time, we had to, vendors who knew nothing about this would have to go and try and get things fixed up.
Could be a nightmare on many occasions.
Well, a real nightmare if one of the inspections that hasn't been done is the footings or slab. How does an engineer certify that down the track?
Yeah, that's a real hard one, isn't it? Well, impossible, really.
Well, it certainly is.
It happened at times.
Yeah, and now talking about, so the thing we always say to buyers is to make sure there's a special condition added to the contract to cover that. The thing we say to vendors, if we see the contract, is go and find out immediately that you've got your finals.
Exactly.
And the other thing we would say to buyers is, look, a standard contract perhaps a few years ago allowed 14 days for finance, 14 days for pest and building, and another 14 days for settlement. And most buyers, particularly in the Caboolture area, first home buyers, first investor buyers, not loaded up with money.
No, they're just mums and dads trying to get ahead.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so we would say your search fees are going to cost this, and they'd say, well, let's wait till we get finance. We get finance. Pest and building has been done. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
And then we find out as a result of the council search a week before settlement that there's a problem.
Yeah.
There's no time left to fix it up.
Throws the whole problem into a disarray, and of course the time frame goes a lot longer.
But can I say during that time, and I'm interrupting, I guess, Peter, but I think during that time, people were becoming more and more aware of it, and as the years progressed, the vendors or sellers were taking the time to get those things sorted, and it became people generally in this area became more aware of the ruling because of what was going on.
Oh, and that's quite correct. And I've had several polite arguments with one or two agents that resolutely persist in not putting a reasonable condition on there for the purchaser's benefit.
Yeah.
I know they're the vendor's agent, but
You want the two to be happy, don't you?
well, the vendor has agreed to sell a house and a purchaser's agreed to buy it. One would have thought it's in everyone's interest
to agree.
achieve that.
Yeah.
Now, with your pest and building, you might think you're covered by your pest and building, but if you read a pest and building report, and I've read thousands of them, page 1 normally says, I have not compared, this is in the words of the inspector, I haven't compared this with what's in the council records, and your solicitor needs to do that. So leave enough time between when you get your council search and when you have to confirm those things.
Yeah. Do you still find that people are still preferring to wait until their finance is approved before they perform that, which does again create that time problem?
50-50.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, some people... look, I'll just leave it at that, 50-50.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Hold on.
And what we'll do is we'll just take a quick break right here.
Yes.
We'll come back with Peter and yourself and continue this very interesting discussion.
Okay.
I've got a couple of questions already myself, so I'll be looking forward to that. Coming up in just a few moments. Time
I'm
check right
supposed
now.
to ask the questions, Shane.
That's true. 15 to 11. It's good to have you company. This is the Morning Magazine Show with Lee Chippendale and Talking Real Estate. It's 11 to 11. We got, of course, the one and only Alan Jones coming up for you fairly shortly after the latest news. But right now it's back to Lee Chippendale and, of course, Peter.
Hello again. Now, Shane, you had a question that you would like to ask Peter.
Well, just from a listener's point of view, I mean, there might be listeners out there that are tuned in right now thinking, well, look, I've got this business, that I want to sell.
Yes.
And it's in a business area, specifically set aside for business. And do I need to make sure that the person is knowledgeable in that area to be able to deal with the conveyancing? I mean, because obviously some of the rules and regulations and all the rest of it may be a little bit different from business to, say, a residential place. Would that be fair and accurate, or is that not true?
Peter can definitely answer that for you.
It's very true indeed. We're required, as lawyers, as Australian legal practitioners, which is what we're called nowadays, we are required to have a number of considerations, ethical standards, and we mustn't act in fields that we're not competent to act in. We mustn't take on jobs that we don't have the time and the experience to fulfil. People, and I welcome people ringing up, people coming to see us and talking to us about the transaction, the deal, whatever they're doing. And look, the sensible lawyer, and I try to be a sensible lawyer, will immediately refer them on to a specialist. And we do have a system, the Law Society has a system of specialist accreditation across a number of fields, and property law is one of those. You talk about business. Yes, that may well be a field that could touch upon the company set up, estate planning, trusts, and indeed the day-to-day running of the business and the valuing of the goodwill, who's appropriate to do that, and all of those sorts of things. Yes, it's a field that perhaps if you haven't done it, then you shouldn't take it on. That would be my advice to a young practitioner.
Definitely.
Now, you raise an interesting point where you talk about business. If I could leave you with one thing that sometimes comes as a surprise to people, the ownership and the transfer of land, the law, the legislation, if you like, that governs it, is specifically talking about the land.
Yes.
Now, you and I know that when we see a contract, we're talking about the land and that house that's on it, the building that's on it.
Yes.
The law at that level doesn't care two hoots about it. And you may have, if you've bought a property, seen that the property's at the risk of the buyer from the time they sign. Now, that's age old in the law of contract. For hundreds of years, where you sign on to buy something, it's at your risk. And it was only in 1974, with the passing of the Property Law Act in Queensland, that it was modified in relation to houses. And the Property Law Act provides that if your house is so damaged by fire or an event as to be uninhabitable, well, then you can avoid the contract. That doesn't apply if you sign up to buy a commercial unit. So if I sign up to buy a commercial unit and I've got my finance and it burns to the ground, I'm still obliged to settle.
I'm sure there's people out there that don't understand that.
And if it's a simple thing to remedy, you have to take out the adequate insurance. But, there are some traps and some pitfalls, and buying commercial properties and businesses are very different on occasion from buying a house or a block of land.
And may I add that I know Peter's very experienced in all of that because I've been to him on many occasions with both those things. So I'm sure I know he's speaking with knowledge.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like I said, from a listener point of view, because they don't understand this.
Well,
I
don't.
have a little bit of understanding, and you guys have a lot more. But it was a question I felt that there'd be people out there thinking like me.
Yeah.
Do I really have to make sure I got the right guy for the job? Do I need to ask that question?
And it's interesting, though, just from a real estate's point of view, we are not supposed to recommend. Like when I couldn't really say, if you came into my house and you say to me, who's the lawyer you should use? I'm not supposed to say, well, I recommend that you go to so-and-so.
And nor are we implying that in this program.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying, I think from a real estate agent's point of view, we will always try to suggest the reputable firms that we know, if that's the nice way that I can say it.
Well, it's a fair way of doing it.
Yeah.
And you can't be anything else but fair, I think, in this day and age. And hopefully that does the right thing for everyone.
Back to what you said, Shane, should you ask them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make that your very first question. I'm thinking of buying a business, a general store.
Yeah.
Are you experienced in doing this?
Yeah.
By all means. And if they're not happy to answer that question, I'd ask why.
Yeah.
Or pass him up and go to the next person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a fair question.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us, Peter? We have a few moments left.
No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'd like to come back at some stage.
Definitely, we can arrange that.
Perhaps talk to you about the conveyancing process and some misconceptions, such as the one that started this, that there are always problems with conveyancing.
Oh, now. That's it. I'm not having you back.
No, we'd welcome you. Look,
It's great. No, it's awesome.
I've been glued to this chair just listening to the whole conversation.
Yep.
It is fascinating, to say the least, but you cover areas that everybody else is out there probably thinking, I want to know about this. So when do we do?
Well, I'm happy next fortnight or a month, whatever Peter's happy with.
Yes, whenever.
Yeah, we'll tee it up.
All right, you guys tee it up and we'll have it organised.
Sounds
Welcome
great.
to have you back. That was awesome.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Well, Lee, anything?
I think that's about it. I don't think I've got anybody else to speak to today, Shane.
But do you want to summarise or anything?
I just think we've had a very good morning. I think we've covered many things. We've had Erin from realestate.com who's definitely enlightened us with mobile usage of how people are viewing properties and searching for properties and doing everything these days. We've had Arthur from ABC Photo Signs, who's just, I think, told us again how important it is to have good signage that enables you to help you sell your home. It's more attractive to the buyer. It's another point. And there are so many, dots and dashes and points in order to try to sell your home.
And, of course, that wonderful application from realestate.com.
Yes, you're very happy with that, aren't you?
I've had that for about a year and a half
Well,
now.
there, now you know. And we've obviously had Peter from Caboolture and Woodford Law, who has only just given us a slight insight, and I'm happy to talk to Pete on many occasions and see what we can find out there, because law is such a, you have to know what you're on about, and you have to take their advice. They're the experts.
And if people got questions, by all means, please do shoot us an email. Now, our email address is radio@1015fm.com.au. That's radio@1015fm.com.au. Or you can always phone us, 5495-1015, 5495-1015. Our helpful staff here will write down your questions. We can always get them loaded in for future programs.
Definitely, and we can.
And we can put those to Peter.
Sounds great.
Awesome stuff. We've just got a few minutes left, roughly about 50 seconds before we head off to the latest in music and news coming up for you fairly shortly. National news coming up for you fairly shortly, and also thereafter we have the Alan Jones program coming up for you for the next hour, and should be a very interesting program following from last night's big news, as it were, or maybe not so much news. What may have happened or what didn't happen? That's the question we all have to ask. But anyway, Coming up for your program from next Wednesday, I'll be here in the studios, and we've got a lot of stuff. We'll have Swap-It and Creek coming in. Creek is the environmental educators in Burpengary area. We'll be looking forward to having a bit of a chat to him, plus a whole lot of stuff from Darren Grimwade and also Heath Holswich, and your comments too, 5495-1015, and also radio at 1015fm.com.au. You all take care of yourselves and each other. I look forward to your company real soon. This is 101.5 FM. We'll leave you with Queen. Ciao for now.